They say in America that we're gonna have a policy, and in Europe also we're gonna have a policy of no ICE cars by 2035, and that's amazing. That's great. Do you know why? Do you know what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen is there's gonna be no ICE cars in 2040, and there's also gonna be no electric cars because there's no electric infrastructure to substitute all of the people who don't have ICE cars no more. And so the electric cars would be reserved to people who have a house, who can afford to charge that thing. And even though they could, probably they wouldn't be able to charge them all at once because there's just no enough electricity generation to support all of that. So I would say some of the rich people would have amazing electric cars in this country, and all the rest, all the poor people, will be just forced into underdeveloped public transportation in the United States. And basically it's going to look like a third world country. It's going to look exactly like third world country because a lot of people will have no cars because electric cars can only support a few who can afford it. And there's no ICE cars. And so all of the rest of the people would be forced onto these buses that are really undeveloped. There's not really a lot of public transportation in American society, and nobody's going to invest in that. Nobody's going to do anything. So people are just going to be, it's just basically going to be a third world country. And you know how I know that? Do you know how I know that? Because in Ukraine, we have, I mean, I'm not sure what they have now, but we had for many years, we had a similar policy of no ICE cars. We had similar policy of no ICE cars. But also there was no electric cars. So basically there was no cars in Ukraine. And the reason for that is because in Ukraine, throughout its history in modern world, nobody could afford anything, including especially cars. There was no cars at all because no electric cars, no ICE cars, because people just couldn't afford anything. And also at the same time, like in the United States, nobody cared to develop a public transportation. There's no good public transportation in Ukraine, and there's also no cars, no ICE or electric cars, just because nobody has money. So what happens is people are kind of frantically packed into these small yellow buses that look like they're made to deliver bread. People are packed into these small yellow buses that look exactly like bread vans. And then these machines, basically, what I'm trying to say, in Ukraine, and they're still there, these machines are basically one bad pothole away from spontaneous combustion. And they are the major transport utility, major transport. So these yellow little bread vans that made for delivering bread that are one pothole away from spontaneous combustion are the major transportation infrastructure in Ukraine. So these half-maintained bread vans go around cities packed with people, and no one has time. Basically in Ukraine, because there's no cars like in the United States after 2035, there's no public transportations. These yellow bread vans that are one pothole away from spontaneous combustion, they go around cities packed with people. You can't even get in them. So basically nobody's on time anywhere. Nobody's on time anywhere in Ukraine. And that's exactly what's going to happen that's exactly what's going to happen to the United States. Congratulations, guys.